All right, gang, I'm here at Inside Pitch with my friend Hernan. We're going to do a little interview here. He's a fellow, um, I never know what to describe us as,
Right?
movement practitioner, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, so, we're just going to kind of get into it here. Hernan, if you just introduce yourself and kind of describe what you would consider yourself, I guess that'd be the best place to start. I know that you coach,
Right.
you're a personal trainer, you're involved in gymnastics, dance, lots of different things. So just kind of give us what you consider yourself.
All right. So yeah, my name is Hernan Serra, and I actually met Jeremy at Ninja Warriors, where we kind of got in touch for the first time. I guess I'd consider myself like, I want to say mover, but it's too broad. So my biggest background is probably collegiate wrestling, high school wrestling, and I coached for 3 years as well. I do gymnastics, dance, and I kind of try to do all of that circus acrobatic stuff, and maybe even a little bit of yoga. But I think my biggest background is still wrestling. I still consider myself a wrestler before anything else. Second, a mover, and then that's pretty much what I do.
Awesome. Yeah, well, so we're gonna get into the wrestling thing. I got that saved for later, but yeah, we definitely we met in line trying to walk our way onto American Ninja Warrior. We're part of the crazy group of people that'll just sleep on the beach overnight to try to walk on. I noticed a Seahawks blanket and struck up a conversation. And yeah, we just kind of became friends that way. We found out we had similar interests, obviously in Ninja Warrior, but in movement in general. So we kept in contact via social media, that kind of thing. And what kind of really sprung out of that was this guy named Ido Portal. So I want to talk about him a little bit. Just first, who is Ido Portal to you personally?
To me, I just want to say the story how I kind of found out about him. To me, Ido Portal is a guy that connected the dots. Because at the time when I first heard about him, I was doing powerlifting, I was doing boot camp classes, and I was even taking salsa lessons, and I would do gymnastics on Fridays or something. And I was trying to connect all these things together. Like, I was wondering why I couldn't say I'm working out for 3 hours, but one of the hours is powerlifting, one of them is salsa, and the other one's gymnastics. And I was having such a hard time connecting all three things together. But then when I heard about Ido and I heard his speech, and it was just like, it's like he just, I don't know. To me, he connected those dots when I was just like, okay, I can connect them, and all I have to do is say I'm moving. I'm moving when I powerlift. I'm moving when I do boot camp. I'm moving when I do salsa. I'm moving when I do gymnastics. So to me, he's the guy that connected everything, and I think he's going to do it for a lot more people later on. It's barely. I think he just is barely starting to reach out, and a lot more people are going to hear about him later.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing there is we had the same experience. I personally was kind of looking for something more. Going through high school, we did like bigger, faster, stronger, which is just kind of like some powerlifting, a lot of auxiliary lifting, and that kind of thing. And it just kind of left almost like a void space because I didn't really want to just keep doing that same stuff. I got bored essentially. So yeah, Ido for me was kind of the same idea of like he brought a lot more things together. I think connecting the dots is maybe one of the best ways I've heard it described, really. Because yeah, I wanted to do some yoga, and I like climbing trees and stuff like that, and I consider that a workout. But if I tell people I'm going to work out, they assume I'm going to the gym to lift weights, when really that's not necessarily all we do. I probably spend more time doing other things than that, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of have that in common. Definitely the Ido story. How did you discover Ido? Where'd you first hear about him?
From my friend Pedro, he actually sent me a link one day. I was at work. I had a night shift that day, and I guess his friend sent him the video to him, and then he sent it to me. So she was kind of like, I've been looking for a gym like this, but I can't find anything. You guys are the closest thing to it. I was at work. I opened up the tab, watched it, just got my mind blown, then went somewhere quiet where I could just think to myself, watched it again, And I was just like, okay, you know, that's how I first found out, one video at a time. And then after that, I think I watched his whole YouTube, all of the videos he has on there.
Yeah. Again, I mean, it's like the same exact reaction. And anybody that I've talked to that knew about Ido before I told them about it has had the same kind of, you know, like, oh man, like that mind-blowing moment of, yes, finally somebody that can. It's like reading a poem about something that you care a lot about, and you're like, wow, how come I couldn't say it that eloquently?
Right.
You know, it just kind of made sense, you know, all of a sudden. Like, okay, why am I doing so many like back squats, and then I try to go out and be athletic after that, and it just doesn't work. So I try to encourage a lot of my clients that work with me to check Ido out. I try to spread, you know, just kind of his story a lot as well. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest things me and Hernan have in common. And that's kind of, you know, I think that's kept us in touch along with Ninja Warrior and that kind of thing. So that's been awesome. For me, and I'll ask your opinion on this too, he's kind of changed just my outlook on everyday physicality. I think, you know, just what we come into contact with on a daily basis, and how our lives have kind of gotten cushy almost. And then all of a sudden we get thrown into one situation where we have to be physical and we're not quite ready for it. And that's something that I see, you know, in myself sometimes, and a lot of my clients, that's where injuries come from, and you know, some things like that. So what's your experience with people's just general physicality and how Ido might change that?
The biggest area I see it in is I don't like bringing this up, but CrossFit, because they're the one that people that are trying to change it right now, and they're doing a great job, I think, of, you know, introducing people to all these different types of movements. And, you know, some CrossFit gyms are now doing handstands and crawls and all this. So like
they're always evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now with Ido, and he already has it down. I feel like, you know, he's not exploring anymore. He's just adding on. He's not exploring anymore. He's adding on to what he already knows. And I think I don't know if you saw him lately on Instagram, playing with the soccer ball now and dribbling it like he's Ronaldinho or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's grabbing it in his head. And so now he's got his basics, so he calls it down.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's bringing that together. I think that's the way he's going to impact those people first, the people that are already trying to look for something different, kind of like we were.
Yeah.
You know, we were looking for something and then we found it. So them first, and then after that, I think it's just going to be the norm. I think eventually one day, you know, people are going to be handstanding anywhere, or, you know, just doing cartwheels as they walk down the street. It's going to be. I think that's how it's going to look.
That's a world I want to live in for sure, right there. Hernan actually has gave me a little bit of coaching on handstands specifically. One thing that Ido said that I've fallen in love with is the idea of always progressing and never really being like at this goal. So like for me, being able to just do a handstand for 5 seconds was kind of a big deal. But as soon as you get there, you realize that's just a doorway to something else. So,
exactly.
So then, you know, now I'm trying to get a 30-second handstand is kind of a goal that I'm working on right now. You're working on the one-handed handstand, which is to a lot of people like so far out there and such a challenge that they don't even consider it. But when you kind of come back to like the path, you know, where I'm at right now, is there's all these steps that you can take that build and kind of get there. And so the average person that feels like that might be out of reach, they can get there as well.
Definitely. I completely agree with you. One-arm handstand a while ago was just a dream, you know. It was something that I never thought I was going to achieve. Because I remember asking someone, I was asking a cheerleader, hey, how do you do a one-arm handstand? And she was like, well, show me your handstand. And I go up and I come right back down. And I was like, well, sometimes I could get it for a second or two. You know? And she was like, yeah, you need a handstand first. And so I was just like, oh, okay. You know, I didn't know how it worked. But now it's like when you go through the right coaching and the way Ido does it, how he has so many testimonials already, you know, he's like, follow this and you'll get there. And it's just like, okay, now you get closer and closer. More doors open. And finally, now I feel like I'm on my way. And just like you're on your way from 5 seconds, now you're going to 30 seconds, which is 6 times what you were doing. You know, if you think about it that way, or think about it as an arrays, like you're at 5 seconds and you want 30, that's a 6 times. So like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy because that's getting 6 times stronger. It's the same thing, I think, and that's what you're doing now. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and just kind of opening up that idea in your brain that, yeah, you're capable of crazy things that you might not have thought you were, as long as you take that approach of, well, what's the next doorway to kind of go through, and then on and on and on. And yeah, kind of the last thing to wrap up about Ido, the way I look at it is that he is on the same path that I'm on. He's just miles down the road, but he's kind of already traveled it, and really opened up, you know, the way to go, right? You know, so he's kind of been that trailblazer in a lot of things, and like you said, he's done so much of the exploring and so much of the research. So he's definitely a great person to follow. And yeah, some of his work with Conor McGregor that's been going on the last year or so. I think that's going to open up to a lot more people as well. And yeah, I hope it definitely becomes more of the norm. He always says, be the weirdo. And I love that. Like, I love going into a place and doing something and have people be like, what the heck is that guy doing? And I know you're not shy about that either, you know, you do a little bit of parkour background, it looks like, and the gymnastics and the dance, and just, yeah, I mean, if people aren't in those fields, it might look a little strange, but what are some of the benefits, not just physically, but mentally, that you've had from being so diverse in your practice?
Can you repeat the question, actually?
Yeah. What are some of the benefits, either physical or mental, that you've gotten from being so diverse?
I think I think that is the benefit, you know, just going out and being able to do it without doubt, I guess, without doubting yourself. I think that is the biggest benefit that you can get. Like, you know, I no longer see something as I'll never get there. Now it's, you know, like for example, a tennis player or something that I've never done before. It's no longer I'll never get there. Now the question is, how did they get there? And then you just follow that path. You know, it's a lot. I think that's the biggest thing. Right now, dive. I'm so into dive right now. I've always been a fan of Olympic diving.
Okay.
And I have a friend that's actually she's a high school diver, and she's in the senior team. She'll most likely make it to state. So she's, you know, a good diver, and I'm just like, okay, can you, you know, now teach me, like, can you teach me what you know about dive so I can get that. And I think that's the biggest benefit, just not doubting and being able to ask the right question. And Ido talks about that too. He's, you know, ask the right question, or he would even say, ask a better question, which is just one of the best things I've ever heard, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't even keep up with all this stuff that you're trying to get into now. So adding dive to the list, I like it. Cool. So that kind of plays into another question I had, and another topic I want to talk about is faith. You know, faith, it can cover, you know, so many things, but faith for you, I know, is a big aspect of your life. And I would love to give you the opportunity to just kind of speak on how faith has kind of played into your ability to share the gifts that you have.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of funny that you asked that question and you brought it up. Just because I had a one-on-one with this guy named Jonathan Lass from somewhere in England, the UK. I don't know where he's at. Anyways, he asked the same question. He kind of told me, because I was wondering the same thing. You know, I was kind of trying to ask the question that you were asking to myself. And he told me why he did it. And I was like, that's why I do it. Like, that might have not been the reason before, but now that's why I do it. Because he said, remember that first time you saw that guy do a backflip or something? And the first guy I ever saw was, it was at this, like, party, my friend's party, when I was just a little kid, maybe 10 years old, 11 years old. And they have this cool dance song, and go out there and try to break dance, you know, just being kids. And then this older guy, I don't know how old he was, maybe 18, 19, 20. He goes in there and does this, like, windmill and flare, and I'm just like, dude, you know, and I was just like, what was that? That was the coolest thing ever. And I go on and I'm just like, right now to this day, I still think about him. I'm just like, that guy was the coolest, and he'll always be the best in my head just because he was he brought that to me. He was like, he put that in my head that, like, and I want to be that for somebody else. So that's why now that's what I want to do. And when people see it, and the way the way Jonathan last said it, he said, when people see it, now I want them to see, I just want to see Christ when they see me. And I'm just like, okay, me too then. Like, I just said it like that. And he was explaining to me his favorite parkour guy. And he's like, well, he's my favorite because he's Christian. And I was just like, you could do that? You can say he's the best because of this. And I was just like, okay, you're right. I was like, well, you're my favorite because you're Christian and you follow faith, and you're doing it for that reason. So now I see two athletes, and then they're around the same, same type of, I don't know what you call it, athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
But one of them is doing it for a reason, right? And the other one's doing it for a reason too, right? But it could be for something else. And now, I want to pick him because we have the same faith. So now when I do it, I want people to see. I want them to see more than just the physical ability and everything that I do.
Absolutely.
I want them to ask questions and say, well, this is why I do it, and this is the reason. And that's my big thing about faith and movement together.
Awesome. Yeah, I think once you are brave enough to step out and do that yourself, then it gives permission to other people to then follow along and do it as well. If they believe in the same thing and they're passionate about it, it might be that really thin line that they just got to break through to kind of do it themselves. So that's awesome. I definitely wanted to give you that platform to say that for sure. So for me, I kind of had I guess you could call it's kind of like a void in what I do because I used to play baseball, and that was my thing. Baseball. And that was kind of like the only thing I believed in was baseball. So, and anybody that knows me, I mean, that's what they'll say about me, obviously. And once you get done with a career in something that, specialized or specific, it's like it was this huge, span of time where I was just like, okay, well, what do I do next? So, there was times during the day when I was like, I should go to the gym, and I would be like, why? What's the point? Like when you're 20 years old and you're in, pretty good shape because you've been an athlete your whole life, what's the next step? So I spent, I don't know, a few years probably doing the same stuff I did in high school, kind of bouncing back and forth, lifting weights, running, which I don't like to do at all. Not a fan of just going out and running, really. But yeah, so over the last probably 5 years or so, something that's really filled that competitive need has been obstacle course racing, which is another topic I really want to talk to you about. I'm wearing my Renegade Rage shirt at the moment right now. That's an obstacle course race in the Tri-Cities where Hernan is from. And for me, that was kind of like I needed to do something competitive and challenging to drive me to want to, work out and have those events, right? So I never got really the chance to ask you if you had that same drive for doing obstacle course races as well. I just know that you've done a few.
Yeah, I want to just add a little bit to that same thing that you did said. I think everybody needs to do something competitively. With anything. I think trying to win or winning should be part of, and not part of people's life, but not because of a pride thing or anything. But I have this client, and he's now 59, and he does motocross competitively. And at 59 years old, he's doing this, and he's talking about winning or making it to the amateur championships in Illinois or something. And I'm just like, yeah, like, what am I doing? I stopped doing obstacle course races. And I was like, you're right. And he told me, I think everyone needs to do it. And I think you need to do it. And I was just like, you're totally right. And he's actually in a class where it's 50 and up. So he's actually the oldest guy in his class, talking about wanting to beat these young guys.
Yeah.
Right. opened my mind to, you're always going to be older and younger at the same time. Like, as long as there's one person older than you, you're a young guy. And as long as there's someone younger than you, you're the old guy. And he just opened that up. So when I did OCRs, it was something that, I wrestled for so long. It was just like, now what? Like, what do I do? How do I make myself better? Why do I need to go to the gym? There's no reason for it, really, except to look good or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, OCRs definitely did that for me. And now dance is doing that for me. I'm talking to my dance teacher and saying, hey, I want to do this to win, to compete, to at least showcase what I've been learning and what I have.
Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, for me, it's that feeling that you get when you're like not sure if you're excited or you're gonna throw up.
Yeah.
Like that was the feeling I'd get in class, sitting in class, waiting for to get on the bus for game day. Right? Was that? So that's definitely something I feel at the starting line of a Spartan or Tough Mudder or anything like that.
Right.
But yeah, when was your first obstacle course race? What was the first one you did?
First one I did was Tough Mudder in 2013. It was in Fossa, Oregon, it's so hot, it's all desert there. I remember being in the second mile, not wanting to run anymore, saying, "Well, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore."
As guys that don't really like to run, it's crazy to think that we like to do 12-mile races, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. I think you can't make me run. Like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. You can't make him run. But in obstacle courses, I'm just like, yeah, let's go. And I think there's something deeper in there where it's like, when you want something, the obstacles aren't going to get through you. And I think that's kind of it makes sense because it's called an obstacle course race. So
yes,
it's there. So yeah, that's where my first one was. Where was yours?
I did the Black Diamond Auburn one. That was my first one, Tough Mudder, which is, for anybody that hasn't ran an obstacle course race, is definitely one of the more intense races that are available. They electrocute you. They dip you in ice water. You have to jump off of, if you're scared of heights, you have to jump off some high stuff. But the experience was unbelievable. And to do it with a team was, that took it to the next level, to go into things that are just kind of scaring the crap out of you, and to do it anyways with a group is, I recommend it for everybody for sure. That competitiveness, like you said, I think is something that you definitely need. My next question on obstacles was, did obstacle course racing kind of coincide with your interest in American Ninja Warrior, or did American Ninja Warrior kind of come first?
American Ninja Warrior definitely came first, because I was like maybe 14 when I saw the one from over in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big dream. And then when I was 17 or somewhere around there, I heard about the one here, and they were like the first one ever. So then when I was getting closer, I was, it might be something that I can actually do. And then I heard about obstacle course races, so it kind of all came together. I was like, okay, I'll do these to get ready for American Ninja Warrior. Since, you know how it is for American Ninja Warrior. It's kind of, you don't always get to go to run.
It's become a crazy process now. I can't even really wrap my mind around what it's going to take to actually finally get on that show.
Right.
I definitely still want to. Is that something that's still on your list of to do? You got to actually run a little bit, right?
Yeah, I got to run 2 years ago. There in Venice Beach, California, and it was fun. It was just I took a little nap around 4 a.m. They woke me up at 5 saying, "You're next. Are you going to run or not?" I was like, "What?" So I got to go. I was ready as I could be, and it was fun. But I definitely want to try it again.
Yeah,
I need to try it again. Something on my list.
Yeah, it's been on my list too. I haven't had. I hung in there as long as I could. I think I left somewhere around 2 or 3 a.m.
I remember that, yeah.
And I was just exhausted anyways. I don't know how I would have done, but yeah, that's definitely something that's still on my list for sure. For me, I watched the show for years before I even knew that there was anything that close that we could do.
Right.
And then when it came to the U.S., it was like a no-brainer to want to try out for it for sure.
Definitely.
now it's at such a big level that it's just, I don't even know. It's insane to try to get on there now.
Yeah, it is. I hope they change the system of how you get on there. Maybe do tryouts one day. I think that would be awesome. Or there's people trying to change it and make it a sport too. So that's kind of cool. I think somewhere we'll get our chance.
Yeah, just gotta hang in there, be ready.
Yeah.
So now you are you doing you're doing private like personal training sessions?
Yeah, I'm doing personal training as well as just a couple classes. I was coaching gymnastics as well, a couple classes there. But I also have kind of like a 9-to-5 job as more classes fill up and trying to get a place, to be able to work. And this is my friend's studio, so I get a lot of people in here, and it's fun. But yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
Awesome. Yeah. The last question I had for you was what's next, but you kind of already given that to us. You're into diving now. You're still doing. You want to be competitive with dance. You're still doing obstacle courses. You still want to be on American Ninja Warrior. So just keeping like all those things full steam ahead.
Yeah, dance is definitely number one right now. Just because I can, and because I can just sign up and I get my turn to try out, or it's because it's there. American Ninja Warrior is kind of like a maybe next year or the next year or the next year. You never really know, but I think that's what I like about dance, where you can just say, kind of like obstacle course races, you just sign up and you get your turn. And so definitely they're diving, something that I've just been so interested in just because of the Olympics. It's crazy the way they move into water. I think it's something that I'm not sure if many people have explored, except for the people that are actually divers. So yeah, that's what's next. And the one-arm handstand's on its way.
You're gonna get that, soon. I can tell. Yeah, on the diving idea, I don't think anybody really sees diving until they watch the Olympics, and to see the crazy level that the Olympians are at makes it probably seem really, really, out of reach almost. Really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think so too. When I see my friend dive, she did this weird twisting thing once, and I was just I still can't comprehend it. I have it on my phone. I have it in slow motion. I've done it with my Goku action figure. I don't understand what's going on, but it's just, and that's why I'm so curious about it.
Yeah.
That's why I wonder, how do you twist in mid-air, or whatever it is that they do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, if there's anything I know about you, it's that you'll probably find a way to get it done. You're an inspiration, for what I'm doing. And I know that if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to inspire, plenty of more people. And that is, that's the reason why I wanted to have you on and chat with you. Just because I think that the more people can see how really accessible things really are, the better. The more people they see that are out there moving and building on their, their own skills, it kind of opens that door for them, and hopefully, someone will listen to this and go, okay, yeah, maybe I'll give something to try that I was a little bit scared of in the first place. But yeah, I really appreciate you, spending the time to sit down and chat with me, and share some of your thoughts on things. Hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. I also wanted to I wanted to give a shout out to Ron, and I want him to keep training.
Nice.
He's doing a great job. I show my friends his posts. I'm just like, man, this guy's really doing it, and you put his age out the other day, right?
Yeah, he's 70 years old. He turned 70 back in February. And yeah, I mean, if I ever get the chance to talk about Ron, I'll talk about Ron for sure. He came to me as an umpire that I knew from playing softball. And he was always, everybody knew him as the overweight umpire that, was a super nice guy. And that's all we really knew of him. And I happened to run into him at the dog park shortly after getting a new puppy. And we kind of chatted a while, and he told me that he was retiring from umpiring. And he was saying that his mobility was probably the number one reason why, that he was having to retire. So I started talking to him about, well, what do we need to do? get you back out there. So we started a training program at the end of last November. So we're getting close to a year of training together. And he's down 60 pounds now, and he's moving quite a bit better. So, yeah, I mean, I love bringing the guy up just because that's huge motivation for sure.
Yeah, definitely a motivation. Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
no,
Hold on. No, yeah, sorry about that.
no worries.
What was that?
No worries.
Okay, no, yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, Ron at 70 is just he should be an inspiration for everybody. So anybody that listens to this and follows you or follows me, and I think he's the best example. I just feel like I have a feeling that maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but the next year after that, you're gonna have Ron in a handstands against the wall. I just see it. I really do. And when that happens, I want people to be like, I can do it too, right?
Absolutely.
I feel you're gonna Ron and yourself, because you guys are a team. You guys are gonna break through for so many people. I just see those weights going, the pounds going down, and I'm just like, one more for Ron, and that's just I think you guys got something that's gonna do something. It's gonna impact, and you're just keeping up with that. All his progress so well. I think you two need to just dial down on that, because it can make something happen. It could rattle up some people's brains and say, me too. Let me get on that same train. What did Ron do to get to where he is now when they see him on the wall? And you're gonna have the blueprint already and say, this is a blueprint. Follow it. Follow me, and I could get you there too. And you'll have that down. It'll be yours. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I know I'm beyond excited about how it's gone. Back almost a year ago now, I just could tell by the way he spoke and the way he looked at me that he needed it and he wanted it bad enough to really make it happen. And I think one of the coolest things is it's really allowing people to see the commitment that it does take and the time it takes and that kind of thing. So yeah, blueprint is a good term for it. And yeah, just trying to help more people, spread that as much as I can.
Yeah, I like quoting people, especially my friends or people that I hang around with. And I think you meal prep, right? Do you meal prep your meals? I don't know if you do or not.
Meal prep?
Yeah.
I try to. It's hard.
Okay.
But sometimes.
Well, yeah. Anything that you do, my friend, I've been trying to meal prep for years, and I just don't have the time or, the excuse is there. I always make an excuse.
Yeah.
And my friend said, he was like, how many people can you help if you meal prep? And I was just like, wait, what? Meal prep can help me help people. And it just twisted my brain up to say, okay, I can meal prep. And now it was my second meal prepping. And I'm just like, it kind of goes back to ask a better question.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just something that I want more people to have. And this guy, his name is Joel. He told me that once, and I was just like, okay, you're right. If I just ask that question in a different area, that makes you want to do something. I think it's good. It's really good.
It really is, yeah. It just kind of gets you thinking about it a different way. But I like that a lot. That's awesome. Good deal. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Once again, thanks a lot for the time. I really appreciate it. Great stuff. And for those of you that take the time to listen to this, thank you as well. And yeah, get out there and keep moving. Move more, move better, right?
Exactly.
All right. Thanks.